Deep within the emerald heart of the Yucatan Peninsula, where dense jungle canopy suffocates the sun, lies a world unseen, yet profoundly felt. It is here, beneath the surface, that the ancient Maya believed the true essence of existence resided. Not merely as a mythical concept, but as a tangible, living landscape. These subterranean passages, carved by water over millennia, were far more than just geological features. They were the very veins and arteries of their spiritual world. They were portals, gateways to the realm of gods, ancestors, and the ever-present threat of chaos. From humble origins, the Maya civilization emerged, not from fertile river deltas like so many others, but from a limestone landscape devoid of surface rivers. Their survival, their very genesis, was intrinsically tied to the Earth's natural arteries, the cenotes. These natural sinkholes, exposing crystal-clear groundwater, were life itself. They provided sustenance, agriculture, and a focal point for burgeoning communities. The pre-classic era, often overshadowed, laid the bedrock for what would become one of history's most sophisticated societies, all thanks to these watery conduits. But the cenotes were not merely wells. To the Maya, they were the sacred connection between the visible world and Xibalba, the terrifying, beautiful underworld. This was the dwelling place of powerful deities, the realm of creation and destruction. Every drop of water, every echo in the dark, carried profound spiritual weight. The unique geology of the Yucatan, riddled with these natural wells, forged a civilization whose worldview was literally rooted in the Earth's depths, making the boundary between life and death, earth and spirit, incredibly thin. Imagine daily life in a pre-classic Maya village. Every trip to fetch water from the cenote was a journey to a sacred site. Women collected water for cooking and cleaning, children played nearby, but always, there was an underlying reverence. Offerings were left, prayers whispered. The rhythmic dip of goods into cool, dark water was a constant reminder of the life-giving, yet mysterious, forces at play. These sites weren't just functional, they were the focal points of community, the places where the mundane intertwined seamlessly with the divine, shaping every aspect of existence. Central to this aqueous faith was Chark, the rain deity. His influence was paramount in a land dependent on seasonal rainfall. Cenotes were seen as direct channels to Chark, places where his favor could be sought, and his wrath appeased. Elaborate rituals, from simple prayers to more complex ceremonies, began to take shape around these water sources. The spiritual power of the cenote wasn't just for individuals, it was harnessed by emerging leaders who understood that controlling access to water, both physical and spiritual, was a path to power and authority within their communities. Archaeological evidence from the pre-classic period reveals the beginnings of sophisticated ritual practices within cenotes and caves. Simple ceramic offerings, jade artifacts, and even human remains start to appear, signaling a deeper, more intentional connection to these sites. These weren't random deposits, they were carefully placed offerings, sacrifices intended to commune with the underworld, to ensure good harvests, or to mark important transitions. Each artifact tells a story of belief, a testament to the growing complexity of their spiritual worldview and their desperate need for cosmic balance. Over time, the Maya didn't just use the natural caves, they began to shape them. Pathways were cleared, platforms constructed, and sometimes, even carved altars emerged from the living rock. These modifications transformed raw geological formations into sacred architecture, purposefully designed to facilitate rituals. It demonstrates a deep understanding of the underground landscape and an immense labor investment, signaling the growing importance of these sites in their expanding religious and political structures. The boundaries between the natural and the man-made blurred in the service of the divine. As the pre-classic era progressed, small villages grew into formidable cities. But unlike many civilizations, Maya urban centers were not always built along major rivers. Instead, their sprawling metropolises often formed around these sacred cenotes, the very heart of their existence. The location of ritual sites, and therefore water sources, dictated the very blueprint of their urban planning. This unique relationship meant that the spiritual connection to the underworld was literally embedded into the fabric of their daily lives, influencing everything from housing to ceremonial plazas. With the rise of complex urban centers came the consolidation of power. Rulers and priests became central figures, acting as intermediaries between the human world and the deities of Xibalba. Access to and control over the most sacred cenotes and cave systems became a source of immense authority. Rituals, once communal, became more formalized, often led by an elite who could interpret divine will and ensure cosmic order. Their ability to communicate with the underworld, through the portals of the cenotes, legitimized their rule and solidified their place at the apex of society. For centuries, the dense jungle protected Maya secrets, obscuring the true scale of their achievements. But then came LiDAR. Laser technology, penetrating the thick canopy, began to peel back the layers of time and vegetation. What it revealed was nothing short of astonishing. Not just scattered cities, but vast, interconnected networks. The jungle, once an impenetrable barrier, now gave way to the ghost outlines of ancient causeways, irrigation systems, and countless structures that had been hidden for a millennium. It transformed our understanding, painting a picture of a far more expansive and complex civilization. The LiDAR revolution didn't just reveal surface structures. It showed how Maya cities were often carefully integrated with their subterranean counterparts. Anomalies detected by LiDAR sometimes pointed directly to underground cave entrances or sinkholes, revealing that the architects of these metropolises considered both the visible and the invisible landscapes. This technology allowed us to see entire ceremonial complexes built specifically to align with or access these sacred underground portals, suggesting an even deeper, more pervasive spiritual connection than previously imagined. Their world was truly multi-layered. With LiDAR, we began to see how surface architecture, once thought to be independent, was often directly connected to underground ritual sites. Causeways didn't just link pyramids, they often led to significant cave entrances or elaborate cenote complexes. This systematic integration demonstrated a deliberate attempt to link the worldly power of their cities to the divine power of the underworld. The entire urban fabric was a sacred map, guiding the faithful and the ruling elite to the very heart of their cosmological beliefs, solidifying the idea that the city itself was a living, breathing entity, connected to Xibalba. LiDAR also helped identify extensive cave systems, some modified with human-made tunnels and chambers, extending far beneath the grand temples. These weren't mere natural features, they were pilgrimage routes, ritual spaces, and repositories for offerings. Explorers using this new data could now pinpoint previously unknown underground passages. The revelation of these vast networks reshaped our understanding of the Maya's monumental ambition. Their constructions weren't confined to the surface. They literally built into the earth, transforming the natural underworld into a deliberate, ceremonial landscape. These discoveries reaffirmed the profoundly holistic nature of the Maya worldview. For them, the cosmos was divided into three layers: the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. Cenotes and caves were the primary arteries connecting these realms. The actions taken in one realm directly influenced the others. This belief permeated every decision, every construction, every ritual. Life was a constant negotiation with these cosmic forces, and the cenote was the negotiating table, the place where humans directly interacted with the powerful forces of creation and destruction. As cities grew and rulers became more powerful, the scale and intensity of offerings within cenotes also escalated. Jade, obsidian, gold, and intricately carved ceramics were deposited, but so too were human remains. These were not random acts of violence, but highly ritualized sacrifices, believed to be the ultimate offering to the gods, especially during times of crisis or for the consecration of monumental structures. These offerings underscored the belief that life's most precious commodity could bridge the gap between human desire and divine intervention. Beyond their utility, cenotes became grand stages for public and private rituals. Some were natural amphitheaters, their echoing chambers amplifying chants and drums. Priests and rulers would perform elaborate ceremonies, sometimes involving self-sacrifice and bloodletting, to ensure the favor of the gods. These performances weren't just for the divine, they were also displays of power and piety for the populace, solidifying the social hierarchy and reinforcing the sacred pact between the rulers and the cosmic forces accessed through the Earth's watery maw. The spectacle was paramount. Many cenotes and cave entrances were integrated into monumental architecture with precise astronomical alignments. This wasn't accidental. The Maya were masterful astronomers, keenly observing celestial movements. Aligning their sacred sites with solstices, equinoxes, or specific planetary conjunctions imbued these locations with even greater power, synchronizing earthly rituals with cosmic cycles. It further emphasized their belief that human actions and the fate of their civilization were inextricably linked to the grand, predictable rhythms of the universe, with the cenote acting as the bridge. The acoustics within certain cenotes and caves are extraordinary. Researchers believe the Maya exploited these natural echoes and reverberations for ritual purposes. Chants would be amplified, drums would resonate with an otherworldly quality, creating an immersive, almost hypnotic experience. These carefully chosen locations could have been used to induce altered states of consciousness, allowing priests and participants to feel a more direct connection to the divine. The very soundscape of the underworld was manipulated to enhance the spiritual journey, making the sacred even more potent. For the Maya, Xibalba was not a distant heaven or hell but a real, physical place accessible through caves and cenotes. Paintings and carvings found within these subterranean sites vividly depict the gods and creatures of the underworld, offering a rare glimpse into their complex cosmology. These depictions served not just as art, but as maps and warnings, guiding the ritual journey. Entering these sacred spaces was to step into another dimension, where the veil between worlds thinned, allowing for profound interaction with the forces that governed their destiny. Then, over the span of roughly 2 centuries, from the 8th to the 10th centuries CE, the great classic Maya civilization experienced a profound and devastating decline. Cities were abandoned, monumental construction ceased, and populations plummeted. The collapse was not a single, dramatic event, but a complex interplay of factors, many of which circle back to the very lifeblood of their civilization, water. The sacred cenotes, once sources of life and spiritual power, now bore witness to the unraveling of an empire, their dark waters reflecting the desperation of a people facing an uncertain future. Paleoclimatic data indicate severe, prolonged droughts afflicted the Maya heartland during the terminal Classic period. This climatic shift would have been catastrophic. Agricultural yields plummeted, and crucially, cenote water levels dropped precipitously. The very source of life was dwindling. As the rain god Chark seemingly withheld his blessings, the desperation would have been palpable. Rulers and priests, whose power was tied to their ability to appease the gods and ensure prosperity, would have faced immense pressure, their authority undermined by the very forces they claimed to control. LiDAR discoveries have revealed that Maya populations were far greater than previously estimated. Massive urban centers and extensive agricultural networks supported millions. This success, however, carried a heavy cost. Overpopulation put immense strain on finite resources. Deforestation, required for fuel and agriculture, exacerbated erosion and likely affected regional rainfall patterns, further stressing the delicate water balance. The very growth that defined the Classic period inadvertently sowed the seeds of its own destruction, turning the abundant gifts of the cenotes into a precious, dwindling commodity. As conditions worsened, it's plausible that rituals within the cenotes intensified. More frequent, perhaps more extreme, sacrifices may have been offered in a desperate bid to placate the angry gods and bring back the rains. Archaeological evidence from later Classic period cenotes suggests an increase in human remains and valuable offerings, hinting at a heightened sense of urgency and desperation. These sacred portals, once sources of hope and communion, might have transformed into grim altars of last resort, a testament to a society grappling with existential threats. The failure of the ruling elite to secure divine intervention through their rituals likely led to a catastrophic loss of public trust and authority. If the gods, accessed through the sacred cenotes, were no longer responding, what value did the rulers and priests hold? This erosion of legitimacy could have triggered social unrest, internal conflicts, and the eventual dismantling of the complex political structures that had held the Maya cities together. The spiritual connection, once their greatest strength, became their most profound vulnerability in times of crisis. The Cenotes, which had been the silent witnesses to the rise of Maya civilization, now bore witness to its unraveling. They collected the discarded offerings, the desperate prayers, and perhaps, the last hopes of a dying era. Yet, even as the great cities emptied, the Cenotes remained. They continued to hold water, a stark reminder of what once was, and a promise of enduring life, even in decline. Their depths held not just artifacts, but the memory of an entire civilization's profound connection to the Earth's beating heart. The classic Maya collapse wasn't an extinction event. People persisted. They adapted, forming new, smaller settlements, often centered around areas with more reliable water sources. While the grand urban centers faded, the fundamental connection to the cenotes and the underworld endured. The spiritual beliefs continued, albeit in modified forms. The resilience of the Maya spirit and their profound understanding of their landscape allowed their culture to survive, evolving through centuries, ensuring that the ancient stories of Xibalba and Chark were never truly forgotten, only transformed. Even today, the descendants of the ancient Maya hold a deep reverence for cenotes. Many are still considered sacred, places for quiet reflection, traditional ceremonies, and offerings. While the scale of ancient rituals may be gone, the underlying belief in the cenotes as living entities, connected to spiritual forces, persists. Modern Maya still tell stories of the Aluxes, mischievous sprites said to guard the caves, and the enduring power of the underworld. The ancient past is not dead, it ripples through the present, a living legacy echoing in every drop of water. The archaeological quest to understand the Maya underworld is far from over. New technologies, like advanced sonar and robotics, continue to push the boundaries of exploration in these incredibly challenging environments. Each new discovery in a cenote or cave system offers unprecedented insights into Maya cosmology, daily life, and the complex factors that led to their rise and fall. These sites are not just repositories of artifacts, they are libraries of knowledge, waiting patiently beneath the earth to reveal more of their ancient stories, piece by painstaking piece. Yet, this fragile heritage faces increasing threats. Tourism, development, and environmental changes jeopardize the delicate ecosystems and archaeological integrity of cenotes. Protecting these sacred sites is not just about preserving ancient artifacts, it's about safeguarding invaluable historical knowledge, unique ecosystems, and the cultural continuity of the Maya people. The future of these profound portals depends on a delicate balance between exploration, preservation, and respect for their enduring spiritual significance. We must be guardians of these silent witnesses. Every stalactite, every submerged offering, every faint glyph within these dark chambers whispers a story. It is the voice of a civilization that built its world not just on land, but deeply integrated with the hidden realms beneath. The rise and fall of the Maya, deeply entwined with their veneration of the cenotes, offers a profound lesson on humanity's relationship with its environment and the spiritual forces it perceives. Their story reminds us that even in the modern age, there are worlds unseen, yet deeply powerful, shaping human destiny. The depths of the cenotes continue to guard secrets, holding untold stories of ritual and resilience. For the Maya, these were places of immense power, where the line between life and death, past and future, was blurred. The journey into the Maya underworld is a journey into the soul of a civilization, one whose legacy continues to captivate and challenge our understanding of what it means to build a world in harmony with both the visible and the unseen. We are only just beginning to truly grasp the profound impact these sacred subterranean spaces had on their entire existence. The intricate connection between the Maya and their sacred cenotes is a testament to the power of place in shaping human culture. It underscores how physical geography can become imbued with such profound spiritual meaning that it dictates urban planning, political power, and even the fate of a civilization. From the pre-classics' first steps to the classics' collapse, and to the enduring present, the Cenotes remain the beating heart of the Maya world, a timeless link to their gods, their ancestors, and the enduring mystery of Xibalba. Their story is written in water and stone.